What's up, internet? My name's Ori. It is Thursday, September 25th, day number 80 inside the Big Brother house. It is eviction night. Tonight we go from the final four to the final three. Who will Morgan choose to save with her veto, and who will they then choose to evict, bringing them to the final three with Morgan and themselves? Plus, did Ashley get caught gaming too hard? Let's talk about that, plus all the intel, drama, and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video, you'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we will be live tonight for the live eviction with a watch party here on the channel. So if you haven't come on out to one yet, make sure you come on out. They're always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys as we watch the episode. A little bit of a recap for you if you guys haven't been keeping up with everything going on. After a live endurance HOH on the feeds won by Vince, and a very fast-paced day where he put up Keanu and Ava, and then just a few hours later Morgan won the power of veto, it led to a very slow week where we were waiting for the upcoming unique eviction, which took forever to come. Finally it did, and we saw that last night on the episode. The wait was not worth it. It was just them stabbing a bunch of voodoo dolls. Keanu was then evicted, and Morgan went on to win the final four HOH. We'll actually see that take place on tonight's episode. She then went on to nominate Ava and Ashley, but we know all that matters is the veto, which Morgan went on to win again. It's been complete domination from Morgan now at this point, winning competition after competition. She now has the right to choose who she wants to be safe off the block, and will get that sole vote on who should join her and them in the final three. Yesterday, we had some conversations where people are still trying to make their pitches on why either the veto should be used on them, they should be taken further, mainly between Ashley and Ava, as everyone pretty much has come to the conclusion that Morgan will be saving Vince. Ava tells Morgan, like, hey, do whatever you decide to do. I'm just happy that you won. And stand by whatever decision that you make. Do whatever is best for your game, Morgan. We then also get Morgan talking to Ashley, where she's like, yeah, I could have, I could have talked to her more, but I just didn't really feel like. Ashley goes and kind of finishes her sentence, unless you're really going to do it. And she's like, yeah, and I'm not going to use it. So it's like, do I really just keep that conversation going? Morgan says essentially, like, Vince is going to be that sole vote. So I just want to give them time to talk. And Ashley's like, I don't even think they're really going to talk like that. Like, she doesn't really trust them. And Morgan's like, I don't think so either. And Ashley's like, if she really thought there was wiggle room, like she probably would, but she doesn't think there is, and that if there was any wiggle room, it would be with us and not with him. Ava actually did make a pitch though to Vince, saying that, look, if she stays tomorrow and goes out in third place, she will tell the jury, like, hey, we need to vote for Vince. He did me a solid. She said, I would work for Will, Lauren, and even Kelly, potentially vote for you over Morgan. And then with myself, you would win, Vince. And she says, hey, even on top of that, Ashley and Morgan, they're taking each other to the final two. If you keep me, Vince, I will take you to the final two. That way, you can't lose. Morgan takes you, I take you, and you're good to go. He ended up reporting this all back to Morgan pretty much right away. And both agreed that, she's doing all she can, and her pitches are good, but it's decided. And then there was actually like a couple little interesting little moments here, because one of the things was Morgan was taking a tub, good old bath in the tub, nice bubble bath. She even had like a mustache she made of bubbles to look like Vince. But they, you know how they are, Morgan and Vince. They go back and forth, and one of the things where they end up joking and teasing each other, but sometimes it stings a little too hard. And Morgan says, like, let's say I did send you home, right? And somehow Ava and Ashley ended up winning and taking each other. Like, and all I got was third place, and I sent my best friend home in fourth. Like, we would laugh about that over a beer later. And Vince is like, would we though? Like, would we laugh at that? Like, that doesn't sound that funny. Maybe in like 5 years. He's like, just kidding. Just kidding. And Maureen's like, "You're not though." And he's like, I'm sorry, like, no, I am though, like, I'm just kidding." And Morgan's like, "Your jokes are only funny when like I know you're joking, but like I don't think that was a joke. I think you're serious on that." Vince also tells Morgan that, he wants to tell her something. He wants to ask her something, but he doesn't want to do it yet. And Morgan's like, "Well, what's the question?" And he would like ask like some other like, BS question that obviously wasn't the question. And then Morgan would be like, I'm ready for the real question, Vince." And then like he would ask like some other like BS question that didn't really matter. And then she's like, "That wasn't the question. Like, Vinny, you're leaving me on a cliffhanger. Like, ask me the question." And he says, "Oh, I'll ask tomorrow." Eventually, though, Morgan tells Vince that, she feels like he has a lot of questions for her, but won't ask them. And he says he has a lot of questions in general. And he does ask, like, "Morgan, have you ever thought of using the veto and kicking my ass out this week?" And Morgan says, "Never." Morgan says, "Did you?" And Vince says, "Never." These two are too much. Vince also was telling Morgan that he's happy that they had the HOH room as their room, as our room for the last month. Calling it our room is wild. He also, though, Vince filled in Ashley on all the pitches that Ava was given as well. Just kind of telling her, everything that was going down, saying that she would take her, him to the end and, get votes for him. And he seemed to almost frame it as Ava, would campaign for the jury's votes with him as a way that, maybe it would end up being almost bitter to him if he didn't keep her. And that might be a good reason for why Ashley should take Vince to the final two, right? It almost felt like this weird little like reverse pitch where it's like, yeah, Ava's saying that she would go campaign votes for me, but obviously if I don't do that, those votes will probably be bitter. And Ashley's like, "Oh, so Sheila was kind of threatening you." And he's like, "In the nicest way possible." And he said, like, everyone really has, though. Like, every time everybody leaves and they say they're going to be real bitter and not going to get their vote, but maybe they'll calm down in jury. And like I said, I think this was all in like an attempt to get Ashley to, want to take him to the final two. If she were to happen to win that final three HOH. But I don't think he really has to worry about that too much because Ashley knows that Morgan is a loss no matter what if you're sitting next to her. And Ashley even makes it clear to Vince in this conversation that she will not be taking Morgan to the end. And Ashley says they will lose to her if they take her to the end. Ashley's also telling Vince that Ava was saying that Morgan and Vince would take each other because they're obsessed with each other. And Vince is like, I'm not that obsessed, right? Like, not for losing almost losing almost $1 million for. And Ashley's like, "Yeah, and you have a girlfriend and a family." Eesh. By the way, I'm also shocked, absolutely shocked they addressed it head on the episode last night. I was almost sure that they were going to sweep it under the rug, but to hear Vince actually say in the diary room, like, "Am I single now? Like, has Kelsey dumped me after she wasn't in the family messages from home?" And then going on to say things like, "We're just sleeping in the same bed and, we're hugging and it's a big bed and, we're rubbing and maybe we're sharing emotional moments of vulnerabilities. And, she poked my butt and she also got my friend to poke my butt yesterday. And, they think it's squishy. But other than that, we're just friends. I promise we're just friends." But yeah, definitely really interesting to see them actually address that like full on the episode yesterday. Another thing I kind of wanted to go over, I also have reflected on my take on Ashley yesterday. I think I was a little hard on her. And one of the things is, I think you guys know, I'm a little hard on the people like I see potential in, like the people I think could be, capable of more, and people I also kind of want to see, pull something off. I would love to see Ashley pull off a move where she's able to, somehow get Morgan to use the veto on herself and then evict Vince and send him packing this week, opening up the opportunity for her and Ava to eventually evict Morgan in that final three HOH. But I just don't see it happening, and I see it as this really hard road ahead for her. But also on top of that, Her using Ava, that was the big thing for me. That felt like it was the wrong play. And maybe it could work, but it's more than likely going to go wrong and go poorly at best. Using Ava to break up Vince and Morgan is like using a spoon to cut a steak. Like, yeah, maybe you'll get through, but it's going to be really hard. And if she wanted to get this done, she has to be the one to do it. Morgan trusts her, not Ava. So she can't use Ava to break that up. And all it's going to do is potentially make it to where Morgan wouldn't want her to go even further anyway, or Vince wouldn't want her to go further anyway. Uh, she could go to Morgan and say, listen, Vince has been playing you, right? Vince will take me to the final two, just so you know. Like, he's not planning to take you. If anything, I think Vince wants to take Ava. That's what she really should have done. She should have gone to Morgan and been like, listen, I want to stay in this game, and I don't know if we can 100% trust Vince. I will keep Vince in this game, but I think he is going to evict Ava. I'm getting that vibe. In fact, we've seen something similar to this in BB14. Dan and Ian were up on the block. There was a showmance off the block in Danielle and Shane. Danielle was the HOH and the veto holder, so she had all the power. Dan was able to convince Danielle to use the veto on him because he said, listen, I will keep Shane. I will not send him out of the house, but we cannot trust that he won't break us up. But then in the end, in the final three, you're going to have Shane, you're going to have me, and both of us will take you to the final two. What did Dan do when Danielle used a veto on him? He cut Shane. He said, I'm sorry, but I gotta do what I gotta do. That's the way Ashley should have went about this. But using Ava is just not the play. You're not going to get anything done with Ava because there's no value in that. And that's why I think I went a little bit harder on her. Also, on top of that, one thing I always got to push back on. People are like, "You, how do you call her dumb? And you're doubting her intelligence." When did I ever doubt her intelligence? I always talk about the moves. The moves are the thing. Ashley's very intelligent. I've talked about that before. She's a lawyer. She passed the bar. You pass the bar exam, you're pretty smart. But we're talking about the game moves. And if you can't separate the personal of, somebody's actual intelligence to a move they're making in the game being dumb, like, I don't know what to tell you. On top of that, people trying to say, like, oh, you'll always call Ashley dumb. Called Keanu delusional the entire game. Like, let's be honest here. But yeah, it's kind of interesting here to see Ashley, trying to make attempts. And I love that she's playing. But the big thing is, I worry that she's playing too hard and maybe she's going to get caught. And she has to be careful that Vince and Morgan don't catch on. Too late, because Vince and Morgan have actually caught on. They've sat down, they started comparing notes. And they say, like, yeah, like, what's the deal here with Ashley? Because you know what? She's telling me one thing. What's she telling you? And they start actually comparing what's been going on. Vince says to Morgan, if she actually wants to sit next to him in the final two, like, will she do that? Or would she take Ashley? Because here's the thing. Ashley, she says, like, she really wants to go there. And she's been hearing that, it would be a guaranteed victory if she would take Ava or Ashley over Vince. So she doesn't really know what to do. And Vince says, like, Ashley's been telling me that, I would lose to you in the end, Morgan. Like, that, she says it would be a landslide if I'm in the final two. And Morgan's like, well, Ashley's been telling me that it'd be a 50-50 chance. And they are fully clocking that Ashley has both of them thinking that they should take her to the final two. Now, will this fully demolish Ashley's game and have her evicted tonight? Probably not. But they do really go over every detail on why they cannot take Ashley to the end. They feel like, Morgan says, Vince, how would you feel if I took Ashley to the end? And he said, I would feel hurt and bummed. He's like, yeah, I would feel the same. And he doesn't picture himself cutting her, but, he wants to know what she's doing. He says, listen, if you want, we can even set up that boundary where we're both taking Ashley, if that's what we want to do. But they go on to say, like, mate, I don't think we really can, because Ashley would have Rachel, Will, and Ava's vote, and she only would need one more of those locked in votes. So it's like, she's just too much of a threat to win. And her story would be great. She can easily say she went from the house target to being aligned with Rachel and then made it to jury with the judges being behind shields of Vince and Morgan, and then convinced both of them she was a free ride to the end. They say, yeah, Ashley is very intelligent, and I don't think we can take her to the end. We then also had Ashley and Ava head on up to the HOH, where they were kind of having just everybody hanging out. It seemed like they were going to sleep up there, everybody up in the HOH room, but Ava and Ashley did eventually head on downstairs. But they were all just kind of talking and chatting. Kind of a funny moment when all four of them were up there. They started talking about relationships and what each of them looks for in like a man or a partner, right? For Vince, you know, obviously not looking for a man. He'd be looking for a woman, the one sitting right next to him. Because every time Morgan would talk about what she liked in a man, this camera just kept zooming in on Vince. So kind of a fun little moment there. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't think Ashley getting caught up by Vince and Morgan kind of double talking them where, you know, she's telling Morgan that it would be 50-50. She's telling Vince it would be a landslide for Morgan. So I don't think that's going to really end up being a thing where Ashley gets voted out tonight because of that. But I do think it was a thing that might have secured her at best third place if she does not win that final 3 HOH. But what do you guys think about everything going on? Let me know in those comments down below. We do have the eviction tonight. We will see the HOH competition take place as well as the veto competition, and then the eviction all on the episode tonight. And then on Sunday will be our finale. We'll also have an episode tomorrow. It's going to be kind of the memory lane episode where the final 3 all have dinner. They talk about things that happened during the season, and then they start the final part, or the final 3 HOH part 1 will start tonight after the eviction. That will all take place, and we'll see that episode tomorrow. So we probably will have some answers on who won part 1 of the HOH tomorrow morning for our update. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Once we have our final 3 on tomorrow's update, we're going to be doing a lot of jury scenarios, going over the different final 2s and who would vote for who. So you're not going to want to miss that either. Thank you guys all again so much for watching. If you are new here, though, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, smash that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Like I said, we will be live here tonight for the watch party. Make sure you come on out for that. Check out the links to all of our socials in the pinned comment description down below. You check out things like our Twitter and our Discord. Discord we just remodeled and made into a really cool place. You can find all different types of channels where you can talk about whether it's Big Brother, Survivor, which just premiered last night as well. So plenty of people talking about that in the Discord. You've got places for other reality shows, as well as even places where you can talk about sports or post pictures of your pets or what you're cooking for dinner. So make sure you check out the Discord as well. Thank you guys all again so much for the love and support, and I will see you at night.
Ta-da!
What do you want to say as Vinny?
I'm a genius! Fuck!
He goes, and I was like, okay,
oh, that's
butt.
his face?
No, that's his butt.
That was his butt. Yeah, I thought that was his butt.
I was like, okay, butt.
Why is his butt kind of big? It's like, it's moving up.
It's kind of, wait, press this right here. It's a little squishy.
Oh my gosh, it is!